And welcome back to another edition of the Sabre Spotlight on the Marian Sports Network. I am Wade Bates, and we're going to talk Marian baseball right now with head coach Jordan Baitinger as the season is right around the corner as the Sabres get ready to head to Arizona. Coach, just before we talk about the season in general, just how's the preseason workouts been going?
Sure. Things have been going well. We asked the guys to do a little bit more this past fall, and we put them in some groups, and they did a really good job of taking some leadership roles and taking the workouts further than they did last year. So we're excited to see what the end result will be for us this spring.
Year number 2 for you coming in as the head coach for the Sabres. How is this year different than last year as you get ready for the season for you personally?
A lot different. I think you learn so much as you go through your first year, things that you don't necessarily expect or things that you encounter that you weren't really anticipating. And so you learn so much about yourself as a coach, definitely things that I need to grow and get better at, but also just kind of going through the experience, knowing what to expect, being able to benchmark a little bit from, last year we have our workouts and we have our we do live sessions inside, but you don't really know what to take away from it until you go through the season. And so now I think we have a better idea and better gauge on what it means inside and how maybe it'll translate to the spring.
Yeah, administratively, there's a lot more to it at this level as you're a head coach of a varsity sport. When it comes to just maybe throwing the bats and balls out there and saying, let's go, right? There's a lot of other things that go into it. They have to kind of manage along with actual game and players and things like that.
There's a lot, yeah. But, thankfully I get a lot of help. We have a great staff. Obviously from the top, Jason Bartell helps a lot being the previous baseball coach, and now the AD helps a lot, and our assistant Brian Berger does a ton of stuff that helps out and takes a lot off my plate. So I'm actually very lucky in the situation that I'm in.
We are heading to Arizona coming up on March 7th, and nice collection of games heading down there. But before we talk about games and maybe opponents that we're going to see in Arizona, let's talk about your squad a little bit, just overall before we break it down by position. Can you kind of talk about your feelings about this roster this year in general?
Yeah, I think we're all excited. We anticipated a lot of growth from year 1 to year 2 with things changing and kind of a little bit of the cultural change that had happened. And so we're excited about how they're doing. They're close. They really enjoy being around each other, and they worked extremely hard. So we're excited to see what kind of growth and the steps that they take now going forward.
And last year you had a ton of new faces for your squad. This year you bring back a nice nucleus of a team last year that was very competitive.
Yeah, we lost a lot of close games, and that's kind of been a focus for us now is finishing those games, being mentally present and in the moment so that the little mistake that happened to us last year doesn't happen, and we're able to win those close games that we're inevitably going to be in as we go through the year.
I think there were 8 one-run games last year and then a handful of 2-run games that were run games that you're right there that could have gone either way with one thing or another would have gone the other way.
Exactly, yeah, and it's a small thing. It's a very small detail that happens, and an extra base here or there can be the difference in a game, and so that's what we've really been focused on, and we're excited to see what's going to happen when we get to Tucson.
Well, let's talk about your squad. Let's start on the mound, and can you kind of talk about your pitching staff? You bring back a lot of starters from last year and also a good core of relievers.
Yeah, we're very excited, and we actually have a nice incoming freshman class, too, that is going to help out a lot. But we don't expect the starting rotation from last year to change a whole lot. It's still going to be the same guys up at the top, Jordan Bach, Brady Nearing both had some experience in the Northwoods this past summer and have grown a lot from that. Zach Sandoval will be back, who had a nice freshman year, and just some small things they need to get better at to really take the next step, but we're excited about what they've done so far.
Talk about the Northwoods League experience. Obviously, maybe if a kid goes and plays somewhere else, they're going to pitch a lot more innings, but the experience you get playing for the Dock Spiders and in the Northwoods League, that's probably invaluable to yourself as a player, right?
Yeah, I think the number one thing that they both took away from it is what it really takes to become a great pitcher, not just a good pitcher or an average pitcher, but what the dedication that it takes on a daily basis. And you could tell from their work ethic has changed, not a lot because they're both good workers, but you can see the small things. They don't take pitches off. They don't take drills off. They're 100% in, and they're going 100% every single time that they're out there. And it's exciting to watch because we both the coaching staff is really excited for what they're going to do this year because we know how hard they've worked.
Back behind the plate, I know you lost Tommy Duganzik, who's been a battery mate to one of the pieces of the battery for many years. You have Michael Pappas back and some youngsters. And can you kind of talk about what you got behind the plate this year?
Yeah, we feel good about where we are. And Michael took a couple steps forward last year and really does a nice job with the pitching staff. They're very comfortable throwing to him, and that's a big part of being a catcher is being able to manage the pitcher and also call a game and kind of take care of the defense. So we're very comfortable with what he's done. There's a couple of young guys that I think are going to play quite a bit. They've done just a ton of catching up this past fall and in the winter, and they handle the pitching staff very well as well. So we're comfortable with a lot of guys back there. And we also have Cole Clark coming back, who's a junior, who has really been hitting the ball well this winter, and so they're all going to factor in some form or fashion.
How big is it for a freshman to come in behind the plate, because there's so much more to do than just you're out there and you're playing? I mean, you have to manage a whole bunch of different things. Is that tough? Is that a big adjustment from high school catching to college catching?
Huge. They not only are they calling a game, which may be the first time that they're calling a game, but they're also managing. One of their biggest jobs is managing emotions out on the mound, which can be difficult, especially with pitchers. Me being one, I know kind of how erratic we can be. So that's a big part of it is making sure that the pitcher is calm and in the moment. They also have to call the defenses out there too. So there's a lot of things going on, but we're lucky. They're very intelligent guys and they pick things up very quickly.
Can you talk about your infield? Maybe go over each position, maybe the depth that you have there, and,
Sure.
and what you're looking for from guys at each position.
Yeah, first base, we have guys coming back that both played quite a bit, Tim Jurgis and Jake Arns, and they're both going to play quite a bit. And we're expecting them to be kind of middle of the order type guys, and they both hit very well over the winter, and we're excited about, again, the growth that they've made and being the sophomores now. And then we have two freshman guys that are coming in that can also make an impact offensively, and just got to get them ramped up and ready. Going around in middle infield, we have some experience coming back, guys that played a lot, and Jake Fallish, Hunter Berry, and Jordan Walker will also be in the mix there. All guys that are, they know what they're doing. Not a lot of wondering what you're going to get out of them. Just making sure for a couple of those guys that they stay healthy for the entire year. And then at third base will most likely be Travis Slifka, who played a lot last year. He's a guy that we're all excited about. He works extremely hard, and we're expecting some big jumps in his offense. Defense, never a question.
How about you guys in the outfield? A lot of your outfielders actually work for us here on the Marian Sports Network doing camera during the fall and in the winter sports season. Yeah. And can I talk about who we're going to see in the outfield and guys that maybe we'll see in the lineup? We're
going to see a lot of them. It's hard to single just a couple of guys out because we're going to get contributions from a lot of different guys. One guy I mentioned before, Jordan Walker, is probably going to play a little bit of outfield. But there's a lot of innings to be had on the outfield, and we're going to see how that plays out in Arizona. A lot of guys are going to get opportunities. So we'll see how it plays out.
If you had to look at this roster right now, how would you describe the type of team you think you're going to have? You're going to be a team that's going to score a lot of runs. He's going to be a kind of a pitching-heavy team. I mean, how would you describe that you think this group of guys will look like out on the field?
Sure. I would anticipate that we're going to need to pitch well and play defense to win. Offensively, we're still very young with the guys that are going to be making big contributions, and they got to take some steps forward in order for us to be a big run-scoring team. Right now, I think it's going to be more of moving runners, situational hitting, and we're going to have to play a lot of D.
And looking at the trip to Arizona, mentioning we leave on March 7th. I think the first game is the 8th against Wabash College. Coach, I think there's 10 varsity games, 4 varsity reserves. There's somewhere in that number. What do you look for when you go to Arizona? Because looking at the schedule you put together to go out there in Tucson, there's some teams that were in the NCAA tournament last year. There's teams that were at the bottom of their league and teams that were in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, well, we want to play good teams. I think we talked about this last year too. We want to find out where our guys are, especially on the pitching side of it. You don't really know where you are until you play a really good team and find out how they react to your stuff and how you react to big situations. So we want to play those good teams and find out a lot about us. And also, it's important for us to get back in those close games. I think our guys need the confidence to know that they can finish them and that they're ready to take that next step.
Coach, looking at the weather forecast out there, last year it was like 90 degrees every day we were out there, and I think everybody lost probably 15 pounds every day. This year the forecast is like in the mid-70s.
Sure.
Are you a guy that likes the hot weather? You like a colder weather, milder weather, or does it not make any difference when you're playing ball?
I don't really care as long as it's not like 20 degrees. It doesn't. I think when a lot of coaches will probably say the same thing, once the game starts, you don't really notice the weather. I would rather have it for everybody to be in the mid-70s, so you don't have to worry so much about dehydration and guys cramping up. So as long as it's comfortable and guys are going to be healthy, I'll be okay.
We hope to have most of those games, all of those games on the Marian Sports Network, so people can kind of keep track of what's going on with the Sabres as they open up the season. Looking at the NAC, just what's your take on the NAC this season?
I think it's going to be – it's trending up. I mean, you got to – Concordia Chicago is on the national scene now, coming back from the World Series, and there's a couple teams that are on their way up, and we hope to be one of those teams.
What are some of the things that will have to happen for the Marian men's baseball team to push up into and be a contender for the NAC playoffs this year?
I think it's pretty simple for us. We have to play sound defensively, and I think to do that we have to be mentally present and not let the small mistakes beat us like they had last year.
All right, Coach, March 8th, Wabash College, the opener for the Sabres out in Arizona. We'll have it here on the Marian Sports Network. People can look at SabreAthletics.com probably if they want to know anything about the program, even if they're interested in maybe becoming a potential Sabre.
Absolutely, yeah. Everything is right there on the website.
Coach Jordan Baitinger, thank you so much for joining us. Again, Marian Baseball, you'll watch it all season long here on the Marian Sports Network.